Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. This is Philadelphia Live. As you can see, a very active afternoon at the moment. So I'm going to walk you through what you're looking at. All four live cameras. Right there, the fire, that is a barge that is on fire in the Delaware Bay. Just to give you a bit of perspective, Skyfox is on this. Several different television markets are on it. Smyrna, Delaware, which is down towards the Delaware shore and the Maryland shore, they're on this because of how billowing, how big, how bold this barge fire is. We do believe that this is a trash barge that caught fire. So again, that is how big it is. The other cameras that you're seeing, Lincoln Financial Field. Why? We're still in the tampering deadline area, tampering segment for free agency. As you know, yesterday, a lot of big names were claimed. We're talking about Reed Blankenship. We're talking about Nakobe Dean and more. We are going to be speaking about that to EJ Smith. He covers the team 24/7, 365. You'll have him. And then down below, what a beautiful day. Hopefully you're watching this on a device in a park or somewhere like that, because we're not going to see a day like this for weeks to come. Just a beautiful day. And then, of course, that's Philadelphia Airport, PHL. You might have heard this already. With the partial government shutdown combined with spring break travel, it is going to you're going to spend more time waiting in TSA lines. So that is one of the stories that we will be talking to you about throughout the afternoon. All right, so we're going to go full on that barge fire. And again, multiple TV markets. So like Philadelphia's a TV market, Smyrna, Delaware, they're all on this. We do know this, numerous agencies and first responders on the scene of that fire. It happened just about an hour ago. And because all of the agencies are working on this, the intel, the information is limited. We do know that the Coast Guard is the lead agency on this. Delaware Natural Resources and Environmental Control also responding. And this is in the Bowers and Little Creek area. So the Bowers and Little Creek fire departments are on this. Our helicopter is overhead. As you can see, it was interesting. Phil, who works here in TOC, had said it looked like it was some kind of debris. What we're being told from the helicopter pilots, both here in Philadelphia and out of Smyrna, Delaware, some of our other broadcast partners, is that it looks like this is a trash barge. That is something that happens. And look, you can see the pilot boat. A pilot boat, just so you know, is a boat that travels ahead of a barge, a yacht, a cruise ship, a big vessel of some kind. And they do exactly what the title would describe. They pilot these ships, these barges through big areas of water. So, like I said, when Skyfox kind of pulled away on this, you could definitely see what was happening and how just big it is. We are in the Philadelphia area, but what I'm being told is that you can see it for miles around. It is the Delaware Bay. The Delaware Bay touches several states, obviously Delaware, parts of Pennsylvania, parts of Maryland. So the Delaware Bay is a big waterway. That's one of the reasons why, as Skyfox goes out, you can kind of see what's happening there. Interestingly, we're getting some white smoke, and we know this from covering fires. Like when it goes from dark gray, like it's still in the light gray, it's under control. But you can see there are still active flames on that barge. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a trash barge. We believe it to be a trash barge that is in the Delaware Bay. We know that the Coast Guard has responded to this. We did see one fireboat, but I mean, you look at that. Those are active flames. It looks like it's going nowhere soon. Interestingly, I don't know if humans travel on the barge, because we did see the pilot boat almost look like it was acting as a tug vessel. I'm quite sure that if someone was on this vessel, there's enough boats in and around this barge that they could have gotten off. It doesn't really, I guess in the front, it looks like there would be a place for someone to walk. I'm not sure how these barges are motored or steered, or for lack of a better way, down here. But like I said, we have seen several pilot boats in and around the barge, and typically, yeah, let's just take a look here. This is what I want you to see. just how big and billowing the smoke is. I'm curious, Phil, and I don't know if you know this, like did the fire start in the back and burn its way all the way to the front? Or is it? It's just in the front. Okay, so again, Phil's one of the guys, he sits here and he kind of looks at everything as all the shows are going on, and then as he does, gives us some information here and there. So it does look like it is contained to the front, because if the whole thing was on fire, that would be, 5 times as bad as it is now. I'm curious why the fireboat pulled away. I don't know how fireboats work when they are mid-bay. Remember wow, that's a flare-up. Remember, in the middle of the bay, it's pretty big. It's like a giant lake. It's bigger than a river. So getting the resources, I'm not sure if they only use fresh water or if they can use the water that they are floating in to fight the fire. To be honest, I'm not really sure about that. But look, so there you see one boat there, and I'm saying boat versus ship because of just the mere size of it. But you look at this barge, again, this is in the Delaware Bay. We do believe that it's a little bit closer to Smyrna, Delaware than it is to us. We see a boat kind of pulling up with some, okay, yep, this is another fire hose, a fire boat of some kind. And look, they are putting water on the back part of it. When we've seen fires like this in the past, you'll see multiple boats on it. I'm curious why right now we only see the one, and we're not really seeing anything targeting where, I mean, look at those, look at that smoke. That is what we're hearing. We're hearing that the smoke from this barge fire can be seen literally for miles and miles. I'm just curious if they think that it'll burn itself out, so they don't want to waste the water on that. What it is that they think is going to happen, because clearly they have a boat in the water close by that does have some firefighting capability. And look at that, the water there looks like it's towards the base of the ship. Again, I am watching this along with you guys. We're all watching it live together. We're watching it all unfold. You wonder if they're putting that water on the base of the barge to keep it cool or to protect the water in some way. The Delaware Bay is used for all kinds of things. So recreation, what does it say?
It's according to Google
According
AI,
to Google AI.
it is to cool the hull.
To cool the hull.
And prevent the fire from spreading downwards for structural
and then
problems.
prevent the fire from going down. That makes sense to us, right? We knew they were doing it for a reason. They don't. It's sink. Yep. Because it would be easy for that fire right there to go down a layer, down a layer, down a layer, and then you'd lose a barge, and that'd be a whole nother situation. But again, okay, this looks like, is this another? Yep. Okay, so we do have a fire boat with 2 sources of water coming up on the other side. You have to wonder if the Coast Guard has called on local authorities in terms of local firefighters to help out with this. We know that the Philadelphia Fire Department has fire boats, and I'm assuming the Coast Guard has more than one boat. So again, we always talk about that. See that white smoke on the side by the fire boat that's to the right of your screen? Typically when we do see white smoke, they say it's good news because it's the beginning of the end for the fire. But certainly on the left-hand side of your screen, where we see 2 boats, one up where it says live and one closer to the bottom of your screen, it certainly is nowhere near white. All right, so that's something that we're going to keep our eye on. We know that Skyfox will be overhead, so we will certainly be talking about that between now and 2 o'clock. The other thing that we're going to be talking about, it was really a shock to many people yesterday, the first day of what the NFL calls the tampering period. So we're looking at a live picture of Lincoln Financial Field, which is where the guys that we're about to talk about used to play. We're going to go to EJ Smith. He's with PHLY. So first of all, good afternoon to you.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to see you again. So, okay, I think there were some surprises and there were some, oh, that makes sense. Of the list of people, what was your surprise?
Yeah, I think Jalen Phillips was a surprise, not necessarily because he didn't re-sign with the Eagles. I think it was a possibility, whenever a player goes into free agency, especially one like Jalen Phillips, who was going to be one of the most sought after free agents in the class, you sort of expect that there's a chance that they'd leave. But he signed for a huge contract. It was a 4-year, $120 million deal with the Carolina Panthers, and that number surprised me. I think the Eagles would have wanted to have him back. I think that they pushed to bring him back, but ultimately I think they had a walkaway number, and the Carolina Panthers certainly paid that for Jalen Phillips.
And I think a lot of people are thinking Reed Blankenship, mostly because of his relationship with Cooper DeJean. He clearly is a locker room, he's a positive guy. He seems happy. He seems like he's a uniter, not a divider. So I think a lot of people were surprised by Reed. What about you?
Yeah, so Reed, especially at the number that he signed at, it was a $8.5 million a year with the Texans over a 3-year contract. I would have suspected going into free agency that the Eagles would have had interest in bringing him back for that number, but it's also important to keep in mind that the Eagles have a lot of really big contract extensions to pay out over the next 2 years. You think about players like Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, you just mentioned. Those guys are all on rookie contracts right now, and they are contributing at a high level that far exceeds the amount of money that they're getting on those rookie deals. So, the Eagles really have to be mindful with the money that they spend in this free agency period, because of the fact that they have those extensions coming down the pike in the next few years. And honestly, all those guys are going to cost, in excess of $30 million a year probably. So that defense is about to get really expensive, and because of that, I think the Eagles are really have to be careful in what they do this offseason with players like Reed Blankenship, Nakobe Dean. I think they'd love to have those guys back, but ultimately it's an accounting issue where you have these big contracts to account for later in the future.
So you just said it, Jalen Carter. In the newsroom, I was talking to someone. I'm like, hey, with this, I think when Jordan Davis signed for a lot of money, people were expecting, Jalen's got to be gone. But this sets up an opportunity for him to stay, correct?
Yeah, I certainly think so. He's
Okay.
a difference-making player. He's an impact player. He's the type of player that the Eagles usually don't let leave the building, no matter what the cost. So, and they're usually quick to sign these guys to extensions. You'll often hear the price really only goes up for players like Jalen Carter. The market's constantly evolving around players like him. So, I know that the initial reaction was, a curiosity about whether or not Jordan Davis signing an extension would not bode well for Jalen Carter. I think they can keep both, and I think it's just a matter of what that number looks like for Jalen Carter. So, you can never say never, especially with Howie Roseman. I've learned that covering the team for as long as I have, but I do think that Jalen Carter will be a priority for them to extend, and it's just going to be a matter of just how big that number is, because I do think it's going to be a really big number when it does come down, that Jalen Carter extension.
So when I saw Nakobe Dean to the Raiders, I'm friendly with Ronell Williams. I've known him since he was a football player at Westchester. He's a coach, linebackers coach, moved to the Raiders. I wasn't surprised to see that move, but now we're learning that Nakobe Dean said, oh, heck no, I'm being polite, to the Dallas Cowboys. That'll make him an Eagles legend for life.
Yeah, no, it was like a parting gift for the Eagles, right?
Yeah,
That he
yeah.
he was able to turn down Dallas on his way out of Philadelphia. Nakobe Dean is one of my favorite players I've covered. He is always extremely professional, always very accessible, and generous with his time. And I think that really was reflective in the way that he was in the locker room as well. I think players really respected Nakobe and appreciated what Nakobe represented in that building. So obviously they'll be disappointed to lose him. They have a good succession plan in place with Jahad Campbell there at linebacker to accompany Zach Bond in the middle of the Eagles defense. So, it's one that, again, didn't really surprise us that he left, but I do think it was surprising. When I was at the scouting combine about a month ago, there was a lot of buzz that, Christian Parker, the Eagles' former secondary coach, now the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, we heard that he was going to push for Nakobe. He would really want Nakobe to be at the center of what he was building in Dallas. And, I think that Eagles fans can take heart in knowing that Nakobe decided to go elsewhere, didn't want to go to Dallas, and ultimately doesn't stay in the division as a result.
I love it. All right, for me, I grew up in Clearwater, Florida, near Tampa. So I'm loosely affiliated with the Bucks because, again, I have another friend that is coaching on that team. Mike Evans to the 49ers really surprised me. You?
Yeah, it did. You get used to a certain player in a certain uniform, and then all of a sudden it feels like, you're going to see them in a different uniform. It kind of takes you back. But the fact that he's going to the NFC West, I think from an Eagles perspective, you're really going to have to, be wary of what those teams are doing in the NFC West. The Los Angeles Rams, they traded for Trent McDuffie. They made another key signing in the secondary yesterday on day one of free agency. It feels like all those teams are really pushing all their chips into the middle of the table there, with the Seattle Seahawks also as the reigning Super Bowl champions. So, the Eagles are in that field. They're competing with those teams, and obviously, those teams really made splashy moves on day one. The Eagles are more in the vein of trying to keep their talented players, but they are going to have to keep pace with those NFC West teams, and especially with Mike Evans now going to an offense where I think he will be heavily featured and highly productive.
I don't like what you just said. Okay, wait. So I just don't like that at all. We know what Mike Evans can do when he's healthy. I don't want to see it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Now we're going to get it like you just said. Okay, so wait. I keep telling anyone and everyone, my family, my friends, whoever's texting me, in Howie we trust. Do we still trust Howie? Do we think there's some big moves coming? What is happening?
Yeah, I certainly think you can still trust Howie here. I think usually you don't want your team to be heavily active on the first day of free agency. Now, a necessary caveat to that is that the Eagles signed Saquon Barkley on day one of free agency 2 years ago. So it's not to say it can never work for teams, but a lot of the deals you see early in free agency, those are teams that are desperate for talent, that are willing to overpay for the players that hit the market. And usually great players don't hit the market because of the fact that teams are usually anxious to extend those players. So it's not necessarily a red flag that the Eagles weren't active on the first day of free agency. I think their priority is to keep the talented players they have, and make sure that they can afford to keep all of those guys. If you want to see Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalen Carter in an Eagles uniform for the long term, I think it's probably a good thing that the Eagles didn't make a bunch of splashy moves yesterday. But I think over the course of the offseason, it's Howie Roseman. I still think we'll probably see a few big moves, a few surprises, and I'm sure that this team will be well situated to contend for a Super Bowl once again next season.
Okay, I know you have to go like in 5 minutes ago, but here's what I want to tell you. I'm obviously a sports expert. I mean, you've seen it, you live it, you breathe it, you watch me, you know what I'm doing. When it comes to the draft, Nick Singleton, Penn State, and Kaytron Allen, Penn State, apparently they visited the Eagles. Like, is that maybe one of the reasons why Jahan Dotson is at the Falcons? Give me some good news. Give me some good Penn State juice. What do you got?
Yeah, I think those guys are, at the top of the list. I think they're going to heavily lean into offense this year. Howie Roseman talked to a couple of reporters before the scouting combine and talked about this natural transition that's going to happen as the defense gets more expensive. Those contracts we talked about a minute ago, they're going to have to, balance those with young players on offense that are contributors on rookie deals. We saw the defense built with a young defensive nucleus, a young core of players on those rookie deals. As those guys get more expensive, they're going to have to flip that to the other side of the ball. So, yeah, those guys are definitely ones to keep in mind. I'll throw Drew Aller, another Penn State name, into the mix there in the middle rounds as a potential backup quarterback, depending on what happens with Tanner McKee. So I think they'll have some interest in some Penn State guys, and I think receiver and offensive line especially, I think that's what they'll target in those early rounds.
So basically, he said I'm right. I mean, he's EJ Smith, and he just said I'm right. Listen, I know you're busy over there at PHLY. We appreciate you checking in, and I appreciate you making it sound like I know what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Oh, of course. No, I mean, I didn't listen. It wasn't hard. You know what you're talking about. Yeah, so I appreciate you guys having me.
All right. Have a good rest of your day. All right, we are going to get back to what's happening in the Delaware Bay. You've seen it. We've got Sky Fox over it. And yeah, I wanted you to see that perspective. Of course, they're zooming in right as I'm about to talk about it. If you're just joining us, that is a barge in the middle of the Delaware Bay. And the smoke is so massive, so big, that it can be seen by several cities. Along the bay, obviously, you can see it. But this thing has news helicopters over it from several different television markets. You know that, like, Philadelphia is a television market. We cover Delaware, New Jersey, parts of Maryland, certainly Pennsylvania. And then there's TV markets closer to Towson and Smyrna, Delaware, Towson, Maryland, they too are on this story right now because they can see it from their vantage point, from their shorelines as well. Again, the Delaware Bay, massive. And it is, because it's large, this is one of the things that happens. It looks like it's a trash barge on its way out to wherever it's headed. Typically they're going to the Atlantic, right? And so we talked about this just a little bit earlier. The boat that you see on our side that's putting water on the hull, when we looked it up, on the internet, candidly, it looked like one of the reasons they do that is to keep the bottom of this ship, of this barge, cooler, so the fire can't literally burn right down to the bottom. You want to make sure that you are environmentally safe as possible. Certainly this smoke is not good for the atmosphere. We also don't think that a burning barge would be good to be sunk in the Delaware Bay. It would definitely be an environmental hazard of some kind. We do see some boats surrounding this barge. It looked like at one point, and you see the lines right there on the front of the barge, that there were a few pilot boats, the boats that basically pilot a barge or a ship or a yacht through a large waterway. Sometimes they are connected, sort of like a tugboat, but oftentimes they are just leading the way, sort of like a pace car for a NASCAR race or something like that. So to see smaller boats in the water there with this barge, not uncommon, but then you see clearly, you look at that fireboat, on the one that's on this side of our screen, and really getting water not only on the fire, but on the hull, on the base of that barge. And like I said, we believe it's because they are trying to get it to stay cool, trying to make sure it doesn't, melt down to the core of the base of that barge. So again, this is the Delaware Bay. It's something that we're going to be watching for quite some time. We wanted to give you beautiful, gorgeous weather. We do have that, but we're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We'll be right back. Welcome back in, everybody. This is Philadelphia Live. I'm Jen Frederick. We have JP, we have Caitlin, we have Phil that are helping us out this afternoon, so we do appreciate that. Let's walk you through what you're looking at. Top left, there's a barge on fire in the Delaware Bay. That's a live picture from Sky Fox. Right next to it, that's Lincoln Financial Field. Why are we looking at Lincoln Financial Field on March 10th? Because we are in the middle of the legal tampering phase of free agency. We just talked to EJ. There were some surprising moves yesterday. Also some ones that were expected. Bottom line, he still says, in Howie we trust. Below, if you are able to get outside, today is the day to do so. Beautiful day, beautiful weather. Sue Serio has already given a preview of coming attractions in the next week, and it does get yucky. So if you can get outside, the guidance, if you will, is to do so. And then that is PHL, Philadelphia Airport. We know that TSA lines are going to be lengthy, not fun, unattractive, because of the partial government shutdown. So we'll talk about that. So let's go back to this barge, because that is what is happening live at this hour. Again, this is in the Delaware Bay. It started about, I don't know, an hour or so ago. I know that that's when Skyfox was on it, and that's when Phil, who works here in TOC, was like, hey, there's a big fire on a barge. We do believe it's a trash barge. We've been talking about this, several boats there, two of them currently putting water on the barge. So two of them, the one on the right of your screen, a little bit back, the bigger boat, looks like it has two water streams fighting the fire. The boat that's smaller on the left-hand side of your screen looks like it's been alternating, fighting the fire and then putting water on the hull. We looked it up on the internet, maybe one of the things you might do when you're trying to figure out what's going on. And it does look like one of the reasons why they would do that is to make the hull cool. Cooling the hull of the barge means it can't like literally go on fire and melt through the whole thing. Again, we've talked about the environmental impact of a giant trash barge burning in the middle of the Delaware Bay. Certainly the air is a big part of it, but no one wants all of this burning into the Delaware Bay. It's a area that's used for recreation. Cities use it as well. It does look like they're putting more water on the actual fire. We know that sometimes they go back and forth, and again, you always are hoping for white smoke. I can tell you this, in the 25 minutes we've been on the air, 27 minutes, it does look like the fire has moved backwards, meaning it's going from the front of the barge to the back. It doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon, which is disappointing. We've talked about this. I don't know why there aren't more fireboats out there. The weather is gorgeous, so certainly getting a boat out there is, not really, you could get a boat out there, so you're not sure why that is. So we're going to continue to check in with that throughout the afternoon. Again, we're on until 2 p.m. That's a barge fire on the Delaware Bay. All right, I mentioned the nice weather, and Chris O'Connell, I don't know what he did. Did he bake a cake for the bosses? Did he buy him a lottery ticket? But to get a plum assignment like this, oh, he's chilling. He is chilling. Chris is just, or is he frozen? Can he see us? That's him? That's what he's doing. He's chilling. This is your day.
This is my day, Jen. Well, you got to throw me a bone once in a while. How many times have been out covering a blizzard, covering a storm through the summer? This is the payback. We get to cover the gorgeous weather here in Rittenhouse Square. That's where we're at in Center City. Good afternoon, everyone. I got to take you a little stroll. What an absolutely stunning day here in Philadelphia. You don't want to see me. This is what you want to see. There's so many people out and about. When the weather gets warm, this is the place to be. Rittenhouse Square, 70 degrees. It might as well be 85 degrees. Hold on. A little smooth jazz sounds on a Tuesday afternoon.
That was very good.
Here in Rittenhouse.
Yep. That's what we need.
So take a look. It is just perfect, picture perfect, Jen. Look at all the people out on Rittenhouse Square. They actually have a lot of it fenced off because they're trying to grow the grass. But look, people are having a picnic. The shorts are on. There's the farmers market here. Center City is just popping today. Get out while you can, because it's going to be, 75 or something today, pushing 80. Same thing tomorrow, even warmer. So get out, because it's not going to last for long. I think this is going to be a couple days that we have some warm weather, and then it's back to kind of more seasonal kind of temperatures. So if you have a chance today, tomorrow, get out tonight. Just absolutely stunning weather. And Jen, don't we all deserve it after the winter we've been through?
We do.
Some storms. We even had a blizzard.
Yep.
You know, we deserve this. At least
Yes.
a taste of spring is on the way. So hopefully you can get out and enjoy it, because I certainly am. And yes, I got the plum assignment today.
All right, so wait, what camera guy are you working with today?
Rob.
I
Rob's
love
out
that guy.
sightseeing somewhere.
I love Rob. Okay, so just so everyone knows about Rob, super chill. I'm sure they're talking sports all day. They both like, you know, some good food, so I'm sure there's going to be a nice lunch that's going to happen. Yes?
Oh, we're Rittenhouse Square, Jen, and
I mean,
it's sunny.
I
We're gonna eat some lunch. We're gonna
Yeah.
talk to some people. We're
Right.
gonna do our research for our story. This is what it's about.
I mean, you are owed that. You 100,000% are owed it. I'm happy that you
I am.
are grateful for it. I'm happy you get to share it with Rob, who I'm sure he's busy capturing images, and that's great. That's amazing. The good news. Wait, do we have Keith here today? Because you know when Keith switches over from Phil, he turns this room into an ice box. Like you could like hang meat in here. So it's probably going to be 37 degrees in here. So you better.
Well,
be
you got to
extra
get
lucky.
outside, Jen. It's actually kind of warm. I got to get the
Oh my
sunscreen on. Don't
gosh.
forget the sunscreen. No, I'm serious. It's beautiful. Get out. Get
All
out
right.
while you can.
All right, we love it. Thank you. What is that? That's news reporting now? I mean, that's usually a Jen Frederick thing. Okay. All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to reset. We've got a lot going on. Weather, the barge fire, so much more. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. Wow, this barge fire on the Delaware Bay. We've been talking about this for the whole time we've been on the air with you guys. This is a massive fire, and you could see from Skyfox just how big and how far those flames are. I should say the smoke is what it is that we're looking at. And you know, we're looking at this from the Philadelphia side of things. We do know that people who live closer to Delaware, you know, the other side of the Delaware Bay can see this. There are firefighters, fire boats that are in the water doing two things. They're trying to douse the flames, but they are also trying to make sure that the base of the boat, the base of the barge, the hull, stays cool enough where the fire doesn't literally melt through that whole gigantic barge. I have to say, I don't like the idea of a barge fire, but this is like certainly gorgeous. I think that Skyfox is actually moving away from this, but as they do so, look at that. Now you can see why so many different municipalities are able to see what's happening. I know at one point they were trying to figure out if there was some kind of aviation test, because we know down at Dover Air Force Base, there's a lot of activity that happens. That's how big, that's how far away people are when they can see this. So it's one of the things that we're going to be talking about as we stay on with you guys until 2 p.m. today. All right, we're also going to talk about your money, right? Because it's been a very down week, but look at that. We're doing a little bit better. We do know this. Stocks today on Tuesday are holding relatively steady. The swings have been so up and down and up and down. But right now, as you can see, it's not terrible. It's not awful. It's actually up. Remember that at the base of all this insecurity is what's happening in the Middle East. We know that the markets, people who watch them, the financial experts, do not like any kind of long-term disruptions in the geopolitical landscape. And a big mover in terms of the markets, not just here in the US, but overseas, is the energy industry. And one of the big things that has been happening is trying to figure out where the top will be for the price of crude oil. This time last week, it was like $60 a barrel. It went up to 70, then 80. I think when we left you guys on Friday, one of the experts we talked to said the market cannot bear $100 a barrel, and on Monday it got to a high of $120 a barrel. And so then the president started speaking a little bit, and it made some of the investors happy because what he said was he expects the conflict to end sooner rather than later. He also added he thinks that could allow oil to flow freely again from the Middle East to customers around the world. The stock market, though, didn't, really love it towards the end of the day yesterday. And then as we see today, it's looking a little bit better. Interestingly, after the president made his comments, a spokesperson for Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard said, quote, Iran will determine when the war ends. And then we do know that Iran launched new attacks at Israel and some Arab countries in the Gulf, which will, of course, keep pressure on the Middle East. All of this, a conflict that clearly was started by Israel and the United States. So again, the market is really, right now, we know that tech stocks are always important, but right now, it is the price of crude oil that is your driver. And the more that that goes up, the more uncertainty the market will exhibit. And again, we love to show you this because it is a live image of the New York Stock Exchange. Interestingly, the House, the Senate, they have both been talking about what is going on with the conflict in Iran. Remember, there was not a vote to approve this. The president and his administration, along with Israel, launched their attacks independently. This is the Senate floor. So again, the members have been talking about many different things. I don't think they're actually talking right now, but we wanted to give you a live picture of this. We'll do that, and we're also going to give you kind of like the latest of what is happening with the conflict. So again, I just mentioned it. There were new attacks on Israel and the Gulf Arab countries. There was an event where a 29-year-old woman was killed in Bahrain. 8 others were wounded. Saudi Arabia saying it destroyed 2 drones over an oil-rich region. And the Kuwait's National Guard says it shot down 6 drones. So that's what's happening today. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. welcome back in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. This is Philadelphia Live, and that's a live picture of where we should all be. That is Clearwater Beach, Florida. Today we're having a beautiful day, but they have nice weather there all the month of March, typically all April. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people go down there. Obviously, Phillies spring training is another thing to do when you're down there for spring break. A lot of families kind of work their spring vacations around games. We know that today the Phillies will face the Yankees at 1 o'clock. So, you know, it's just an interesting thing to do when you're down. It breaks up the beach days, right? Okay, so, oh, Phillies lost yesterday. Who'd they lose to?
Red Sox.
The Red Sox. It's fine. We're going to be fine.
They played it at 1 o'clock.
But again, 1 o'clock, Phillies versus Yankees. All right, so one of the things that everyone's kind of waiting for was to hear all of the details about Jesus Luzardo's 5-year deal. What's really cool is as Dombrowski and the rest of the team leadership were there talking to media, explaining everything. Apparently, a lot of the members of the team, most of the members of the team, were in the same room, kind of cheering it all on. Listen in.
Hey, Jesus, just wondering what you think of your turnout here with all your teammates. Let's start with that. The whole team, I think, is here.
Yeah, I'm very thankful, you know, for all my teammates over the last year, you know, and even the new ones this year. But it's been a great ride, and really enjoyed over the last season some of the most fun I've ever had, you know, on a baseball field and in the clubhouse. So I'm thankful for these guys to come out and support me as well.
Does that speak to your desire? One of the reasons why you wanted to stay in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I mean, one of the many reasons. Like I said, a lot of fun. Love the organization from top to bottom, and you know that also goes with the guys in the clubhouse and the coaching staff as well. So just thankful.
Hi, Jesus. Congratulations. Your guy moved around a couple times already in your career. So what does having this long-term stability mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot to me and my family. Like you said, being traded a couple times, just bouncing around, kind of the uncertainty of a lot of things throughout my career, and you know, just thankful to have a place where hopefully, you know, create some stability and you know, hopefully, you know, create a family and have a place where we can call home that we love and enjoy.
I want to ask both of you about the importance of starting pitching. I want to start with Jesus. I mean, this is your 4th organization. Do the Phillies value their starting rotation in a different way than other teams?
I mean, I guess you could say yes. If you look at, you know, over the last few years, the starting pitchers that and how they've performed throughout the years here as an organization, I think that you know, coaching staff as a whole, but Caleb and Mark, and I'm very thankful to them, and you know, how they helped me progress throughout my career, especially over the last year. And you can just tell, not only with me, but with all the guys that they get their hands on, you know, they just make us better overall. And I think that there's a lot of emphasis in that, like you said, but, you know, a lot of hard work behind it. And I can't speak for other organizations, but for what I've spent with this organization, you know, they value starting pitching extremely highly. And, you know, there's a reason they're so good at, you know, keeping them on the field as well.
And Dave, you've built a lot of teams around your rotation. Why do you look at the rotation the same way now at a time when the rest of the industry doesn't necessarily?
Well, I can't speak for others either. I don't know what their mentality is, but basically it's worked because they're good. And so anytime you have good starting pitcher going out there that can set the tone, it gives you a better chance to win that particular game. And so for me, I've always felt that when you go out there daily and you go out and you look who's on the mound, it doesn't always work this way. But do you have the edge or not? I really like having the edge myself when you look at the guy out there versus the other clubs. And normally it works out for you in the long haul when you work percentages. And fortunately, we're in a spot that we have some of the best in the game of baseball. So it's really worked out throughout the years for me.
Jesus, I guess you had an option this offseason or coming into this season. You could have said, hey, let's just play out the year and go to free agency. So I'm wondering your mindset this winter. Did you talk to Brody and say, listen, I need this to happen? Is it something like, it would be great if it happens? What was it kind of your thought process leading up to these negotiations?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I just kind of went with the, you know, whatever happens mentality, and you know, I was very thankful when we started negotiating, and you know, thankfully that it ended up working out. But you know, free agency, I don't like to play the what ifs. I think that this came at the perfect time for me. You know, God put me here, you know, at the right time, and I'm very thankful for this organization. I love it here, and you know, I'm glad that it worked out this way.
And how did those conversations start? Do you remember, like, did Brody give you a call, say, hey, the Phillies called, we're going to start, or what do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember, you know, we had a call with the Phillies, and it kind of took off from there, kind of the back and forth. But yeah, just, I mean, a phone call here, and from there we just started rolling.
What's up, Jesus? Last year, was there a specific moment that stood out to you where you were like, you know, this is a place that I want to pitch here in the future?
I think that not a specific moment. I think just you know, a combination of things. Came into spring training, you know, made some good relationships with the guys in the clubhouse. Really got along with the coaching staff and you know, the training staff, the strength staff. It just was very eye-opening to me how good you know, the supporting staff is here and how good they are at their jobs, and I'm so thankful for them. I wouldn't be here without them, and you know, also the guys in the clubhouse, you know, how they treat our families as well. You know, my family loves being a part of this organization as well, and just, I mean, everything. I like the city of Philadelphia. I liked you know, living out there, and the fans, the stadium. I think you know, the energy going to the ballpark every day, and just the expectation to win. And I think that combination of all those things was just the, you know, the perfect combination for me, and a match made in heaven.
You've had multiple pitching coaches throughout your career. What separates Caleb from the rest of them?
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky enough to have some great ones, so it's a no knock to them. You know, Mel Stoudemire with me in Miami was great and helped me get back on track. But you know, Caleb and Mark here do such a good job of simplifying things for us, especially me as a starting pitcher. Really put me on a good path of understanding, you know, what our strengths are, what we need to do to get guys out and make it easy for us. And like I said, simplifying the game, making us really understand what we need to do when we're out there, and you know, how to make us better. And I think that we kind of share that passion to find that edge of how we can get better every time out. And I you know, I really like that. So yeah, it's been a great job so far, and I really appreciate that relationship that we have together.
All right, we're going to pull away from this for just a few moments because there is an active shooter situation in Baltimore. We're going to bring you a live camera, and I want you to know, it looks like the photographer that's giving us these live images is walking up the street. One of the reasons why we're bringing this to you, we do know that one suspect has been shot. We do know that one police officer has been shot. We do believe that both of them have been taken to Shock Trauma Center. That is a hospital in the Baltimore area. So again, a Baltimore police officer shot. Okay, we have another, this is the same thing. This is also Baltimore. It is another live camera because this is a story that many people are currently covering. This is Northwest Baltimore. The shooting happened in the 6200 block of Park Heights Avenue. Not sure if you know where that is. Shock Trauma is where the officer was sent. We do not know that officer's condition at this point. The suspect, as I mentioned, was also shot. At this point, the police department there in the Baltimore area is telling people to, quote, avoid the area. We learned about this just about 10 minutes ago. And again, this appears to be a live ground camera of what is happening again. But if you're just joining us, this is a live camera. This is Baltimore, Maryland, where a police officer was shot during what's being described as an active shooter incident. It happened in Northwest Baltimore, and again, near Park Heights Avenue. The officer is at a trauma center. We do not know that officer's condition. We obviously are still trying to figure out exactly what happened, what led up to this moment, what was going on with this active shooting situation. But we do know, it's interesting, they're letting cars by. You see that. It is a bit of it's a blocked off area. There's more police officers showing up on the scene because, again, we're being told that people who live in the Baltimore area are being asked to avoid this area. So we do know at least one officer has been shot. We know one suspect has been shot in all of this. We're really not getting too much information beyond that. But we do know that the officer was taken to a hospital that they refer to as shock trauma. Certainly some police cars moving very, very fast. The condition of the suspect has not been released. The condition of the police officer not been released. Looks like there's an unmarked car of some kind headed there. So again, this is one of the things that we are going to continue to monitor throughout the afternoon. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back. We've got a lot going on today. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. This is Philadelphia Live. There is a lot happening today. And some of it, candidly, is kind of fun. We have Shayna. She is at a cool soccer event that's also celebrating Women's History Month. Good afternoon. It's not started yet. You're waiting for it, right?
Yes, we are about 5 minutes away from the start time. We are here at the Philadelphia High School for Girls. And this is the setup. We have FIFA folks, FIFA 26 folks here setting up these gift bags. They're getting ready for a giveaway here. There are 150 gift bags from Philadelphia FIFA committee here that you're looking at as we get ready to set up the girls. So we started to file in at this point. And this is really just a giveaway to get folks excited, pumped up, if you will. For what's going to be surely a memorable summer here in Philadelphia. And so this giveaway is really to kind of encourage girls and remove the barriers really from a lot of, female athletes to get into sports. And so these gift bags have a lot of different goodies, including 2 sports bras per bag. So these girls are going to get to walk away with something that on paper may not be a big deal to some people, but for others, it is a big deal. And so this small effort really helps girls get involved and feel comfortable getting involved in sports. And so this is what this is all about. So this is what the setup is looking like right now. It's supposed to get underway at 1 o'clock. So we should be hearing from the FIFA folks. We should be hearing from some of the students, and we'll get a look and we'll bring it all to you coming up later in the 4, 5, and 6.
I love it. Is this something similar to what Jalen Hurts did a couple years ago? I think he went to that same location, partnered with a sports bra company.
Something like that, yeah. Now that you mention it, pretty similar. So same idea, and certainly welcomed for so many girls. So they're getting pumped up. We should start seeing more girls come in. They're giving away 150 of them. all sizes. So it's really inclusive, making sure every girl can walk away with something special today.
Very cool. Thank you very much. All right, continuing on the good news, we've talked a lot about the market being not good, better today. We've talked about the price of oil, not good. We've talked about the price of everything, not good. But guess what? The new report is out, and apparently U.S. home sales have bounced back in February. So we're going to go to real estate agent with RE/MAX at Mainline, Kim Carey. Good afternoon to you, Kim.
Good afternoon.
All right, so is this right? I was reading it at first. I'm like, we have good news somewhere in the financial sector. You're a real estate agent. Are you seeing this?
Yes, I am actually. I think most agents are seeing it. The reason being is because there's no inventory right now. The market basically has no inventory. So what happens is we have several buyers that see a house pop up. You have 7 buyers go after the house, make a bid, and they're bidding against each other. So they're upping the bid. So we're seeing houses sell a couple $100,000 over. For instance, I just sold a house $340,000 over asking. So the market is very strong. It's tough. I should say it's a very strong seller's market. The buyers are having a tough time, as you can see, but it's keeping our prices very high and very strong.
It's in the room here, someone just sighed when you said that. So as you said, it's a seller's market, not a buyer's market. I think all of us are like, we're never going to get a house. I'm sure you work with both sellers and buyers. Your sellers, you're having a great time. What are you telling your buyers in terms of navigating this?
So basically, it's tough. I have to tell them that we have to up the game. We've got to bid higher. If they don't want to do that, I tell them, let's try and do a cash deal. You don't have to necessarily do cash. You say cash and you can get a mortgage, but you waive the contingency. So we do something like that, or we waive inspections as well. Unfortunately, it's tough for the buyers, and some of the things we have to do is just take other options. Like, again, we can pay transfer tax for the seller. It's things that we used to not see, but we're seeing it now. So it's hard for the buyers.
Now is like real estate Super Bowl season, right? It's like spring. People are feeling good. They're in terms of where you are. I'm sure a lot of families are thinking about moving into or out of a school district of choice. Yeah. They want to make sure they're in the right place for the fall, right?
Yes. So we are seeing a ton. Spring market is usually when you see more homes come on. So we are seeing a bunch pop up. We will see some come on in summer as well, just because, again, low inventory. But you're right. People are looking for the school districts. That is a big thing for them. So they're trying to get into the market. So that's why you are going to see a bunch of homes come on. And let me just tell you, the reason I feel that like I said, it's low inventory. And my belief is because we had seen interest rates, a couple of years ago, people were getting between 2% and 3%. And at that time, you'd see a ton of people buying because they want 2% and 3%. So now those people are very content with their 2% and 3% and don't want to move. So that's, again, why we're having low inventory.
Okay. So I don't want to move, but I want to make a ton of money, but it's not always attractive because where am I headed, right? I got to stay put.
Right. And I'll tell you, that is very true. And I am contemplating that right now as an agent for 25 years. I basically am about to put my house on the market, I think, because what you can get for your home right now is unbelievable. It's insane. But I don't know where I'm going to go, so it may be a rental.
Well, there you go. At least you got a plan. Kim Carey, I know that you are a real estate agent with RE/MAX Mainline. Thank you for popping in. Your insight's great. We appreciate having you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jen.
Okay. See you soon. All right. So it looks like if we're going to cash in, we have to have somewhere to go. I don't have anywhere to go, so I guess I'm not going to cash in. 2 minutes. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back. We're going to reset. We're going to be with you until 2 o'clock. You better be here too. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. This is Philadelphia Live. We're going to be with you until 2 o'clock. Governor Tim Walz in Minnesota is talking. He's answering questions about fraud. So we're going to listen in.
Tackle DHS. It's antiquated computer systems. It's just in decentralized control. So, yeah, we're going to need legislative buy-in. And I know there's people over there that are serious about it. Senator Hoffman is one of them. Not just talking about and admiring the problem and continuing to have hearings that should have happened 5 years ago. That's not getting us any closer. We're getting the data that we need. I think the window and the insight into where things are at, and now we're proposing fixes to this. So we'll need their buy-in, we'll need their help, and we'll take their ideas. So again,
numbers questions for you. How many additional staff do we have to add at DHS to do this, and what's the price tag here? If we're talking about updating those antiquated technology systems, I know those are big dollars. What's the cost? What's the staff?
yeah, and well, Anna. Then I'll let the IG talk about if you do this right, it's about the savings. So they pay for themselves.
So the most of the details I'm Anna Mengi, State Budget Director, MMB. Most of the costs associated with the transition of financial eligibility, some of the expansion of the state role in functional assessments and the studies that the governor discussed. It costs about $17 million in the first biennium and about $55 million in the 2028 and 29 biennium. The proposals associated with the details of the systems modernization proposals will be released later this month when the governor's budget is released.
And how many jobs would this grow state government by?
I think it's a couple hundred jobs sort of when fully phased up. You know, that's recognizing this is not, that's like the details of the proposal that you see before you. So it's not the full, if the state were to take on full administration of county human services work, it's a different scale, but that's not what the proposal is sort of in front of you.
Can you explain 70 plus 55 is before the computer systems?
That's right.
And can you explain that you're talking about to get to full force of staffing that would be reflected in this? Is that because that wouldn't be effective until 2028? Like how?
Just clarifying that the proposal is taking on some financial eligibility work, sort of some functional assessments support for counties, and then like not a pilot project, but several studies associated with full implementation. So the proposal is not for full implementation of total state administration of human services work. So there's more details on the paper, but just wanted to make sure you're
Maybe, can I
yeah,
I'd like to finish answering that question a little bit and then go to the next. So just to be clear, like before we do wholesale transformation, we want to study it. So important to study it, but we're taking some initial steps by taking away some of the very administratively burdensome, complex eligibility determinations that the counties currently have to do. So this is, we have been consulting with the counties. Julie Ring a while ago, the director of the Association of Minnesota Counties, had a very thoughtful editorial on redesigning human services. So we've been in conversation with them. That's an area where we would start taking those complex eligibility determinations for Medicaid. And then also creating a team at DHS that would help to monitor the MinChoices assessments, so for long-term services and social supports, and addressing any backlogs. So it's things like that that are funded in the front end, and then we'll have to see what the study shows in terms of where we go from there.
But to be clear, isn't it the thinking that you start with the studies, but it says by 2028 we would absorb isn't that the vision that DHS would absorb all of what the counties do?
Not by not all of what the counties do by 2028.
So how many job losses could there be in the counties and in the 8 HMOs that are currently doing this? Could this be widespread job losses in Minnesota that the state then grows by?
No,
I don't
think
so.
that's a fair assessment. This is a remodernization. There may be some shifting, but the issues now is, and if I got the opportunity to go down and to work on these programs. It's incredibly frustrating. It is the most outdated system you can ever imagine, and there's better things the counties can do. And what we want to do is this will save counties money in the long run. How those jobs shake out and where it looks, I think that's still be determined. We'll be studying a lot of. Well, somebody want to speak to the HMOs?
So I think that question is better left to them if their Medicaid lines of business were to phase down. So I think that's a question for the plans themselves. With respect to the counties, this is really seeking to address some of the workforce issues and the systems issues that they've cited. So we want to work with them on how to alleviate those pressures, see what the state can do in a more streamlined, efficient way. But we're not hearing from the counties that this would result in job loss, because at this point they're overextended, many of them, in terms of the workload they presently have.
They're bringing a lot of this forward.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, how will this interact with new federal Medicaid work requirements?
Yeah, so the governor will have a proposal with respect to the work reporting requirements and how we implement them here in Minnesota. And the way that we're proposing to go forth with that is to have the state, of course, handle that workload within DHS. So that's going to be the proposal for how we handle that particular piece of HR 1 here in Minnesota.
And that's regardless of whether MCOs are.
Right, so that's a new above and beyond kind of current processes and policies requirement with HR 1 that we have to implement. And the way that the governor will propose that is that the state will take that on from implementation forward.
That'll mostly be paperwork requirement rather than work requirements, and I think both red and blue state governors are noting that with HR 1. So yeah. Sure.
But how does this interact with the conversations you're having with CMS about the corrective action plan? Are some of these changes things that CMS has asked for as you navigate this broader funding fight with the federal government?
So those are really separate proposals that we have made in response to CMS's demand, really, for a corrective action plan.
So again, Governor Tim Walz and his team are holding a press conference. They're talking about federal money. They're asking and answering questions about how it's used. Obviously, with some of the allegations into fraud in that state, it's something that many people are interested in. Sounds like he has now gathered a group of governors, and they're all taking a look at how the federal resources are being allocated, spent, used. So it's one of the reasons why we kind of wanted to dip in, see if there was anything we could hear about Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Delaware. At the same time, we're still thinking about the family of State Police Corporal Tim O'Connor. He was killed in the line of duty this weekend, and we continue to hear just amazing things about the life that he lived. Kelly Rule is on that story this afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jen. Yeah, nothing but amazing things. We just continue to hear stories over and over. So we're at the Embryville barracks where he worked out of here today. You can see the bunting across the sign. We've seen people come and go here from the station, people from the community. There are some family members as well, fellow troopers here. In fact, they just put up these American flags here along outside. So beautiful display in his honor here today. And as you mentioned, again, we're talking with people in the community and they're sharing stories with us. And one woman tells us that her father, she believes Corporal O'Connor saved her father's life. She says that her father suffers from COPD, and he had a flare-up one night, and what he thought was a flare-up, and he tried to drive himself to the emergency room. And on the way, he realized he was having an active heart attack. So he actually stopped here at the barracks, blared his horn, just kind of desperate for help. And according to the family, Corporal O'Connor ran out, took her father into his SUV and rushed him to the hospital, and they say he saved his life. So her dad is still with us today, and we're going to be hearing from them later today. And from others that we've spoken with, they say that's just who Tim was. That kind of sums up who he was as a person and as a member of law enforcement and what they want him to be remembered by.
So Kelly, I think I was reading some stuff about what over the weekend, the governor was in the hospital with the corporal, his family, paying his respect, being there for the family. Is that what we've been told? Yes, they were there. I know he spoke Sunday night as well. And
He was the one that kind of said at this point, you know, we know that he was a hero and that he potentially could have saved other lives during this incident on Sunday night, but that we may never really know what the motive was here because the shooter did take his own life shortly after this tragedy unfolded. So, but we know that the governor was there and that the state police family has been beside Corporal O'Connor's family this whole time.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And it's great to get that part of the story out, just who this guy was, the life that he lived. We've got 2 minutes. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll see you back here. We expect you back here. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. All right, there's a lot going on at this hour. Police in Baltimore tell us an officer and a suspect have both been shot in something they're calling an active shooter incident. The officer has been taken to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center. We do think someone's getting ready to speak, so we'll take that to you when it comes. At the same time, Governor Tim Walz is talking about federal money. There you see, that's the live camera in Baltimore. You could tell the camera guy is still looking at the first responders who are there. Again, we're told this is in Northwest Baltimore. Interesting that there's a gentleman there with his dog, because the only other thing that we've really been told is that police do not want any civilians anywhere near this area. In fact, they put out a public alert that they didn't want anyone in the area of this incident. We do believe that a gentleman is getting ready to speak. We're kind of looking in live as a reporter is working on that. We're going to listen in to see what he is talking about just briefly.
You said you've been out here for a few hours. We heard reports of an officer being shot as well as a potential suspect. What do you know so far?
Okay, so I was coming down Park Heights that way about an hour ago, and I was sitting at a red light and I see just cops flying by. So my adrenaline starts pumping. I said, I'm going to follow the cops, because that's what you do when you don't have a, fully developed brain. And I come down this way and I see the roadblock. So I made a turn around here, and I come in here as the synagogue, and I decided to have upstairs. I went and sat by a table, opened the window, and I had a front row seat to the whole, everything.
So describe what you saw when you got up to that window.
Okay, so I see cops blocking the road here, a bunch of cops here. I see 4 cops standing behind a tree over there with the front guy holding a shield, and then the guy in the back with the rifle. I see a cop walking down the street with his, guns drawn like you see in the movies. And then I heard some shouting from behind the house. I saw cops going behind this building, going to the house also. And more cops pulling up. I saw eventually the SWAT team pulled up, the armored car back there with the army uniform. Just more and more cops coming the whole time.
Well, did you see anyone with the gun that wasn't an officer?
No. There were reports that there was some situation in the house. All I know from that is what I heard. I didn't see anything in the house. I did see after I was videoing, and I heard a shotgun shot, and I dropped my phone. It's so loud and terrifying. So I dropped my phone, and then a few minutes later, an ambulance pulled up, and I see them walk out with a woman who, it looked like from up there, her neck was bloody. So I don't know what happened, but yeah.
Walk me through what you're feeling in this moment. I mean, seeing all that kind of unfold, and now that your adrenaline's probably not pumping anymore, what are some of your initial thoughts and feelings?
So it's pretty scary. I have a family member who lives down Pinckney, actually on the end of the street. It's in a pretty quiet residential neighborhood. There's a synagogue here. There's a synagogue in that corner as well. So we live right around here, and to have this kind of action, as they call it, right at home it's pretty scary. We know Baltimore's not a very safe place to begin with, but usually it stays past Northern Parkway. Now it's coming to our doorstep, so that's a little scary.
Do you know the people that live at that home, or is there any connection to this neighborhood?
I do not know anything about that home. Yeah.
I think anything else you can think of? I mean, that's pretty much all the questions, because
Yeah, we definitely appreciate the rapid response of the Baltimore City Police, and I guess they're also the SWAT. I don't know. They were all here very quickly, and I've seen police flying down Park Heights and Reisterstown. They were going very fast, and a lot of them showed up very quickly. So we appreciate the response, keeping us safe. There's a lot of hate going around about cops. They're all pulling over guys for burnt out tail lights or whatever. But when it comes down to business, they do their job very well. So we're appreciative to Baltimore City Police for keeping us safe.
Can you describe what the woman looked like when the woman came out? Could you describe what she looked like?
I would say middle-aged to older, heavier black woman. Yeah, and she had, from the picture that I got on my phone, I was able to zoom in pretty far. It just seems like this whole side of her face was bloody. She was walking by herself, clearly invisibly and audibly in pain, but she was walking on her own 2 feet, so that was good. And I heard that the police who was shot originally also is, from what I heard, it wasn't too bad. So we're happy that the innocent are okay, and the one who deserved it, I asked the officer in the white shirt, I guess he's some kind of higher up, I said, do you know if they killed the shooter or they injured him? And he said, and I quote, I cannot comment on that at this time, in his very deep officer voice. So we don't know what happened, but they're letting me stand here, so obviously it's not that bad before. So.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Are you willing to share the video that you took? Just trying to grab the scene and hearing that shot?
I'm not sure if I have a video of the actual shot, but I'll share with you.
Yeah, just what you have.
Whatever I have.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. Clearly one of our broadcast partners interviewing a witness to the active shooter incident in Baltimore, Maryland. And there you see officers right behind him. So we've talked about this. This is Northwest Baltimore, and it was described as an active shooter situation. The gentleman that just spoke said it sounded to him like it came from within a house. We've been told that police, other authorities do not want the people of Baltimore anywhere near that area. And he said it as he was being interviewed. It must be a safe situation if he's allowed to stand there. He was really good in his interview, I have to say, explaining what he saw, giving respect to people who have, really had the worst days of their life. So it'll be interesting, to find out what sparked that type of thing. But again, this is a live image. An active shooter incident is what we're being told. A police officer as well as a suspect were both shot, and we're told that the police officer was taken to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center. That is the name of their hospital there. We have not been given a condition for the police officer, and we have not been given a condition for the suspect either. The guy that was just talking there did say that it sounded like there was a woman that might have been injured and she came out of the house. One of the other stories that we've been working on throughout the hour, I should say 2 hours, is a barge fire that happened in Smyrna, Delaware. It was in the Delaware Bay, but most of the authorities that were putting the water out, that were taking care of it, were Delaware-based authorities. We are told that the Coast Guard was a part of that as well. I think we have some images of what it looked like, because I want you to see just how big it is, how massive. There you see it there. Multiple agencies responded to this. And really what we know is this: the barge carrying salvage and metal is being moved to shallow water. That way it'll allow responders to, on the scene, extinguish the fire and complete the salvage operation. So again, we were calling it a trash barge because it just looked like trash to us, but it's a salvage metal barge. Here's the good news. No injuries have been reported. And we were talking about the environmental concerns, and they've addressed that. The Delaware Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control, that is the DNREC, on the scene, and they are monitoring the air quality. Again, we talked about how big this was. Wilmington Fire Department, Goodwill Fire Department, Delaware State Police, Newcastle County Office of Emergency Management, Kent County was there, the Coast Guard, the sector that comes out of the Delaware Bay, and the Philadelphia Police Department, all trying to manage this barge fire. We've got 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Hope to see you with us. Welcome in, everybody. This is Philadelphia Live, and as you can see, a very, very active day. What's going on in these boxes? I'm going to take you around the horn, if you will. First of all, we are expecting a White House press briefing. Typically, it happens at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays. It's scheduled for 2 p.m., but as you can see, they've opened the room, which means it could happen literally at any minute. And then on the right-hand side of the upper box, that's Baltimore. That's a live camera. An active shooter was involved in an incident earlier today. A suspect was shot. A police officer was shot. That police officer, we don't know what condition they are in, but we are told they were taken to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center. Similarly, we don't know the condition of the suspect. We have no idea what led up to this. We heard from an eyewitness there who was being interviewed by one of our broadcast partners. He said he did see a woman leave a home in that general area, and she did not look good. She looked injured as she left the home. Below that, we're looking at the markets. Your money is having an A day. It's had an F day for about a week or so, so we wanted to give you some good news there. And then that live camera that you see with the trucks and the blinking lights, that's New York City. It's just outside the New York City mayor's residence. They call that Gracie Mansion. They're there because a suspicious package has been found on the east side of the residence. The area in between East 85th and East 87th has been cut off to traffic. Again, just days after there was a big protest, and then 2 men from Bucks County were charged with some terrorism charges, and a man from Philadelphia was charged because authorities there say that he pepper sprayed the people that were protesting. All of that took place over the weekend. And now, like I said, live, that is an image of Gracie Mansion, of the New York City mayor's residence, where again today a suspicious package has been found. So who do we go to talk about all of this when everything is happening? You know who it is, Scott Duffy, retired FBI agent. Good afternoon to you.
Hi, Jen. Good afternoon.
So, okay, first of all, let's talk about what's happening right now as we speak. A suspicious package right there at the mayor's residence. I mean, I'm a layperson. I don't know how this works. It's a Tuesday after a big chaotic event over the weekend. Are you surprised that someone was able to get to the perimeter of that residence?
Yeah, I am surprised, especially if it was a package that was delivered by a party other than one of our commercial delivery companies. So it is very surprising, not only what took place, what we saw a couple of days ago, but in this realm, which we've been in for some time, of this political discourse where there's a lot of violence associated with that, anybody would even have access to any one of our politicians, our elected leaders' residences.
Yeah. So I'm sure you've been following the developments over the weekend. 2 gentlemen are now accused and charged with basically being in a warehouse in Bucks County, manufacturing some kind of homemade bomb. You hear all of that. They threw it towards a crowd that was protesting the mayor. So people are calling this like a anti-protest protest, right? But when questioned, apparently these suspects, according to the authorities, said they wanted to kill people and make it bigger than Boston. When you heard those words, what did you think of that?
Especially the way it all seemed to unfold, where, you know, of course, the Boston bombing with regards to the marathon, you have a tremendous amount of people that were gathered there, very well advertised and known. And then, of course, we know as it unfolded, the bombings, and then, of course, the subsequent chase thereafter. With regards to this, it seemed very low key. Probably not a very well advertised protest, a gathering of people like you probably see anywhere in the United States. And so I imagine you did not have a whole lot of camera attention that was taking place. And for these 2 individuals to travel from wherever they traveled from, we know they were from PA, but where they actually traveled from with those IEDs, those improvised explosive devices, to do this harm, that's a little shocking to that they were wanting to do the most harm that they could do on, of course, general public in an area that probably wasn't so well covered with regards to media attention. So that's a little shocking.
Typically they do this because they want our attention. They want to be on TV. They want people to know what they're doing. Is that one of the big motivations when they do it at a big public event?
Yeah, because with regards to at least the terroristic mind, right, to do the most harm, very much like an active shooter, to do the most harm in the shortest period of time, they want it known. There is a messaging behind it, even though it may be illogical, doesn't make sense to us. But they do want to create that harm, but at the same time to have it televised, to get out to the broader public, because they're not looking to just do harm to the very people that they're intending to do harm, but then they want that fear factor to go out in what better way when it's captured through national and social media outlets.
Yeah. So we know that the FBI has been looking at homes in Bucks County. They're looking at warehouses in Bucks County. What are they looking for? What type of evidence are they gathering?
Yeah, so now that this has been deemed a terrorist investigation, and so the FBI has taken over, the NYPD working now in conjunction with the FBI. The FBI is well suited to go and do search warrants anywhere in the country. And so what they are looking for now, of course, are the very items that were used to create this IED. They want to find where these items were manufactured, to search for any documents regarding where they were purchased, to get an idea of a timeline of how long they were thinking about doing this. And then, of course, additional co-conspirators. Did their family members, their friends, or other people know what was going on, and of course played a key role, so thereby you could see additional arrests.
The lawyers did not argue for bail for these two gentlemen charged with, basically all kinds of charges related to terrorism. Obviously, they could argue for bail later. I don't know, you're not, I know you're more on the agency side for this conversation, but why not try and get your guys out? No one wants them if they're guilty of what they're accused of. But what do you think about that legal move?
Sure. Yeah, so typically, Jen, in the federal side, we don't typically have a bail system. We have a system that you can get out and post something with regards to, hey, you're not a danger to the community and you're not a flight risk. And if you can show that, if the defense can show that, the likelihood is that the federal magistrate is going to release you, and then, of course, with a whole lot of stipulations on some sort of almost like a probationary status, making sure that you get to all your hearings, and then, of course, a trial if a trial is to take place. So the fact that the defense attorney did not even try to, so we call it a detention hearing.
Okay.
And that and the fact that they didn't try to do at this point tells that they know that they're stacked up against getting them out.
So now that we're talking about it, we've given attention to it. People want to know about it. They want to make sure they're safe. Does it inspire copycats? Do you have, are you like reluctant to talk about it in this forum? Like, what do we do with that part of this story?
Yeah, so that's just the nature of where we are at, right? And our desire, but also at the right to have information, so that not only does law enforcement put out information in order for the general public to be aware. So, for example, not only copycats, but additional people who very well may be plotting to do something, and of course, in the wake of our political discourse, our seemingly violent discourse, and then, of course, with regards to the pending war in Iran, we are going to see an uptick, as we have seen the FBI put out. They are on high alert. And so you will see a combination of things, people who are motivated, who are going to be open in their discussions to say, I would like to do that, even though they may have no plan, but that there will be seemingly violent discourse. And are they under the First Amendment to say whatever they want to say? But we are never free to threaten violence, and thereby that could turn into a plan. So yeah, I see a combination, Jen, of people who are looking to not only copycat, but those who do have ill intent towards American citizens here in our country.
All right, Scott Duffy, we always appreciate your insight. Thank you for being available to us, and thank you for your service and all the stuff that you do for all of us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. Like I said, it looks like the White House press briefing room is getting set up. We're talking about the weather. We got a lot happening, so you need to stick around. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick. There's a lot going on live. We've been talking about it. The stock market is making us just as happy as the weather today, which is really surprising because we've said this. The price per barrel of oil is up. So this is not what anyone expected. You heard from Kim Carey, a real estate agent, earlier today, talking about the housing market, how it's doing well, but that's unrelated to what's happening here. But we do have our eyes, as you know, on the New York Stock Exchange. The other thing that we're watching is anything and everything that's happening around this area. Greg Payne is on a pretty serious story today. Good afternoon to you.
Hey, good afternoon, Jen. How are you? We're currently here in Point Breeze, the 1600 block of Ellsworth, and you can see, I mean, it is relatively still active, but I mean, the fire department, they have kind of wrapped up putting out the fire. Unfortunately, this is a case where it is a fatal fire. We have been told that there were 3 victims involved in this. 2 of them have been taken to the hospital. 1 person, unfortunately, died, and at this point in time, it's still kind of early in the investigation, so they haven't mentioned any names or sexes or any identified the deceased in any type of way. But you can see right now, as crews are continuing to do their due diligence, you're seeing the fire crews entering into the house. They've been doing this for quite some time. They have the vast majority of this area pretty much blocked off. And speaking with fire officials, one of the things that they've mentioned over and over, because of course the most important thing when you're responding to these type of fires is to try to get whoever that may be inside the building quickly out. But the other thing, when you're dealing with these row homes, fire officials say one of their major concerns is that it doesn't spread over to neighboring row homes. And so in this case, fortunately, fire officials say that they were able to respond to this fire very quickly, to the point that they were able to keep it where this fire did not spread. So like I said, this is the scene currently here, Jen, as they are continuing on with this fire investigation.
All right, thank you. I know that you've had a pretty active day today, and yeah, no one wants to see anything like this happen. Thank you, Greg. We do appreciate your help. We're going to go back to our quad box because right now there's a lot happening. It's all live. Again, we're waiting for this White House press briefing to begin. Typically it happens at 1 o'clock. We were alerted that it was going to be happening at 2 p.m. today, but interestingly, they're set up. So the question is, are they going to go early? Regardless, we are going to have this for you live right here. The yellow tape there, that's Baltimore, yes? Basically, there has been an active shooting situation where a police officer and a suspect was shot. We don't know the condition of either one of those people, but we do know that the officer was taken to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center. We're looking at the stock market because it's good. Look at that. It's green. Basically, it's been very up and down, mostly down last week. Not much of a correction, but the Dow rose 0.5%, and the S&P is also looking better than many people predicted. They're saying it's because the markets are tech heavy. So even though the price per barrel is above $110, in some areas $120. They're saying that the tech stocks are really what is helping. You know this. The market does not like a unsettled geopolitical environment. So we do know that the market did respond briefly after Iran's state media reported that an oil tanker had exploded near Abu Dhabi. But they turned it around after the president of the G7 basically said they've got a plan to get some of the volume of oil that is in reserves released. So again, it's going to be up and down. Right now, it is looking good. And then you see the image that's live of a police officer's hat. That's live in New York City, and that is just outside of the New York City mayor's mansion. It's the family residence that they are in. We are told that there was a suspicious package that was found there. And again, this is less than a week, really just a couple of days after there was a protest, and then people from Bucks County and Philadelphia are accused of going to that protest and hurling what the authorities are saying are homemade explosive devices. 2 of the men They are from the Bucks County area. They're being held, they're being charged with seven different charges related to terrorism and being an actor of a terrorist state. There's another gentleman that also has faced charges, and he is accused of trying to pepper spray the protesters that were outside the mayor's residence. So again, this is New York City, and we just talked to a retired FBI agent. How could a suspicious package get close to the mayor's residence just days after such a big event? It was chaotic over the weekend. We do know that both of those homemade explosives did not go off. So that was the really good news. No one injured there. But as you can see, we have a bunch of live cameras, the camera people kind of adjusting what's going on. We are waiting for that White House press briefing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. It's just 2 minutes, and we're going to be right back. There's so much more happening today. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Jen Frederick, and one of the things that we've been talking about is what's going on in sports. Even though it's kind of like not an active season, we care about the Phillies today. Why? One of our starting pitchers, Jesus Luzardo, signed an extension, 5 years. What was really cool is members of the team are in the room where the press conference is happening. We're going to dip back in to that for just a few minutes.
Family loves being a part of this organization as well, and just, I mean, everything. I like the city of Philadelphia. I liked, living out there, and the fans, the stadium. I think, the energy going to the ballpark every day, and just the expectation to win. And I think that combination of all those things was just the perfect combination for me, and a match made in heaven.
You've had multiple pitching coaches throughout your career. What separates Caleb from the rest of them?
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky enough to have some great ones, so it's no knock to them. Mel Stoudemire with me in Miami was great and helped me get back on track. But, Caleb and Mark here do such a good job of simplifying things for us, especially me as a starting pitcher. Really put me on a good path of understanding, what our strengths are, what we need to do to get guys out and make it easy for us. And like I said, simplifying the game, making us really understand what we need to do when we're out there, and how to make us better. And I think that we kind of share that passion to find that edge of how we can get better every time out. And I really like that. So it's been a great job so far, and I really appreciate that relationship that we have together.
Dave, you're making Jesus one of the highest paid left-handed pitchers in baseball. What are the qualities in him that make you value him this way?
Well, it starts with the person. It can't, of course, end there but the hard work, the dedication, the drive to be the best, what he does out on the mound as far as a gamer is concerned, and giving you every bit of effort in that. But then you also talk about the talent. So you combine all of that with one of the best arms in the game from the left-hand side, his breaking stuff, the way he commands the pitches, the drive and determination. And I think anytime you talk about a long-term deal, which we are, you always want to make sure you have the work ethic that will continue to be that way. And talked to his father, we don't really have maybe shaken a hand in the past, but I said, you must be a hard worker too. And he said, well, I'm still working. So that's the way it is. So it's a lot of times you grow up with it, but I think that's just as important to all those attributes as the ability itself.
And if he'd gotten into the free agent market this coming winter, where would he have ranked among the starting pitchers on that market?
Very highly.
Yeah, there you go. That's why we got him. Okay, and just again, he said it, beloved in the clubhouse and really, really good on the mound. So Bob Cooney is back. Good afternoon to you, Bob. I was going to say Bob
Good
Cooley because
afternoon,
you're
Jen.
cool.
How are you?
I'm good. All right, I have a list that you can't see, but I'll tell you what it says. Oh, you can sort of see it now. It says, Jesus.
Hey, Bob Cooney. Hey, Bob Cooney. I like that.
It says, Jesus Luzardo, WBC, and the Sixers stink. We're going to begin with the guy we were just talking about. Jesus Luzardo, they've made him a very rich man, and, you know, everyone seems to love the guy. Are we going to love him in October? Like, what do you think about this deal?
I love it. I love it. I'm glad they got it done now before he maybe goes out and has a really good year, and then he would have been demanding close to $200 million. He's a guy that when I was covering them last year, that you're just seeing a superstar on the rise. I really do believe that not only his physical tools, but his mental tools also have just gotten better and better. And I think it's a terrific signing. And with Christopher Sanchez and Luzardo as like your 1 and 2 for the next 5 years, yeah, I think Philadelphia is in a pretty good pitching spot.
Wait, what about the hitting? Can the bats stay hot?
I don't know. They don't know either, Jen. It's like when the playoffs come, their bats go somewhere else, it seems like. But, you know, they've been there. They know what it takes. They are a veteran group, and the frustration of years past, does that help them come playoff time this year? Maybe. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Baseball's a funny game. It's contagious. But I like the way this team is formed right now, and you have some questions, but if they can be answered, you're probably looking at another 90-plus win season.
I like it. Makes it fun to go down to the bank and have fun, eat your hot dog.
Sure.
The World Baseball Classic, I forget if we talked to you about it. Do you like this or do you hate this? Some people say it basically gets them tired before they're supposed to get tired. Are you one of those people?
No, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I mean, I know it's a mental grind probably for the players because you're up in the World Baseball Classic, and then you go back to spring training and you're playing in front of 5,000 people, and it's yawn, Florida, let's get to the regular season. So the roller coaster mentality is what players I think have to guard against the most. But no, put them in pressure situations, whether it's pitching, defense, or hitting. I'm all for it early in the season, and I have so much fun watching the USA team with Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. I think it's just been great so far.
Yeah, it is fun to watch right here on Fox. All right. Right now, in terms of your professional life, you're on a basketball court more than anywhere else, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, have you talked to these guys? I understand a lot of them are out. Why is it not going well? What is going on, Bob Cooney?
A lot of the guys are out, just like you said, and yes, talk to them every day, see them almost every day. This Sixers organization just gets killed with injuries, and this year is no different. And when you think things are about to turn and get better, then something else happens. And the latest being Tyrese Maxey with a sprained pinky, which is causing him to miss a couple of games. VJ Edgecombe is questionable tonight. Joel Embiid's going to be out for a little while more. Paul George still has to serve 8 or 9 more games of his suspension. You're talking about 4 starters right there that, whose immediate certainty just isn't known. So that's the reason you're seeing the kind of play you're seeing. And, if they can get all healthy, maybe for the final 10 games of the season, we'll see what they might be able to do come playoff time.
Bob, you've been covering this whole shenanigans for quite some time. A sprained pinky and you can't toss the ball. Like, I have had strained pinkies. I can do all kinds of things. Is this an excuse to give them a little bit of a break before they make a run, or is it really a problem?
I was taught early on in my professional career never to question another man's injury, another athlete's injury. Back in the day when I played, if you had a sprain this, you taped it to this.
Yeah.
And you went out and played. It was called a buddy tape.
There you
now,
go.
I don't know if analytics has buddy tape in their big book of analytics now, but look, there could be ligament damage in there. There could be some other things that we don't know about. They were going to look at them again. Probably, in the next coming days. They go out to Detroit again tomorrow. So we should find out more on Tyrese Maxey within the next coming days, maybe within the next few hours.
You know, it's funny. A couple summers ago, I have a daughter, Landry. She played competitive lacrosse all summer, and she was at a camp at Villanova. I had taped her ankle up, and she was fine. I was like, go back to camp. She almost had a stress fracture that went from her ankle to her knee because I was just saying, put some dirt on it and keep going. So maybe I need to also not question people's injuries. All right, and then as we wrap it up, we already talked to EJ Smith earlier when we were here. Are we still in Howie we trust mode? Are we freaking out? I love the Reed Blankenship, Cooper DeJean combo mentally more than what they were doing on the field. But are you still with Howie?
It's hard not to trust the guy with his track record, especially recently, right, Jen? I mean,
Yep.
Super Bowl 2 years ago, Super Bowl appearance years back, another win in 17-18. It's hard not to trust. He definitely seems to have a plan. Right now, the plan is to not pay a lot of money. We'll see how it plays out. He has my trust until he doesn't anymore. I'll put it that way, and it's going to take a little bit for him not to have my trust. I think there's a grand scheme here, and I think we'll see some of it start to play out very soon.
All right. Thank you. We appreciate it. You're working with On Pattison now?
That is correct, Jen.
Okay, well, I'll continue checking that out. But most importantly, I'll continue texting you and saying, please come here. We appreciate your help.
You better. Thank you very much.
All right. He's also a golfer. So if you want to golf with someone, maybe he's available. 2 minutes. We're going to come back. We are watching to see when that White House press briefing starts. A lot more happening, so you got to stick around. You can't go anywhere. Welcome back in, everybody. Look, this is my paper. That means we're basically almost done. We are waiting for the White House press briefing. It's expected at 2 o'clock. We're going to have that right here instead of Anthony Gargano. But I wanted to leave you with some good